Hello, welcome back, and thank you for tuning in here today. I thought with the title of today's conversation that I would, well, get you thinking. That's actually always part of the goal. But more than that, it's to start putting these ideas into practice, which is what A Course in Miracles is all about. So when I refer to the law of attraction here, I'm not going to talk about what everyone else appears to be talking about in popular spirituality. What we're talking about here is the attraction of love for love. So I've come up with a title that, well, you noticed. So I invite you to stick around as we talk about the attraction of love for love. We're going through the text of A Course in Miracles, chapter 12 here, section 8, which is the final section of this particular chapter. If you're following along, we're looking at the attraction of love for love. In fact, that's the title of this section of the course. So, what do we actually mean by that? Well, let's just start with the premise that this is a dream. The world that we look at with the body's eyes, the world you're looking at right now, the computer screen that you're looking at right now, all of it is a dream. By the way, this includes the physical body. Dream. No doubt you've heard this before, and if you're a course student, of course you have. If you are not a student of A Course in Miracles, this is something that you may have heard from another spiritual tradition, particularly if you have studied and practiced Buddhism or some form of Eastern philosophy. It is a dream. We're asleep. This is not who we are. None of this is who we are, yet it's what we appear to see. We appear to see this due to our own choice, our own election to see it. Mind truly is that powerful. As we've said in some recent videos, and this is an idea that's well worth repeating, we invite one of two things into our mind: love or fear, God or the ego, truth or illusion, light or dark, life or death. Characterize it however you will. We invite one of these two things into our mind. What we invite, we expect. We do. We expect that which we invite. And we then see what we expect. We see what we invite into our mind. So when we invite division and strife, fear, warfare, and chaos, what do we see? A world full of conflict. When we invite the peace of God and only that, what do we then see? Yes, it is that simple. The power of decision that you have right now in the present moment is enormous. That word doesn't even cover it. It's beyond words entirely. But I hope from allowing yourself to really listen to the message of your inner teacher here. I hope that you're beginning to grasp your sheer power and to exercise it. Because it's not power over anything or anyone. That's not what it is, because there is no separate other. There is no separation of any kind. Your power is what you are. It's also what your brother is, because there is no separation of any kind. So if you wanted to put it in words, you could say that it's power with rather than power over. If that verbal structure works for you. We cannot banish God's love. We can deny it and run and hide from it. We could try to drive it out of our mind, but it's still there. We can't destroy it. No matter how much battle we may do, we cannot destroy the love of God for his Son. Why? We didn't make it. It's safe exactly where it's always been. We're safe exactly where we've always been, which is not here. This, of course, doesn't last. We'd like to pretend sometimes that it does, but it doesn't. It has a very limited shelf life. Anything that is in any way limited does not exist. It is illusion, a dream. Quite naturally, we're not raised to think this way in the world. And if you were, that's fantastic. Most of us were not. In fact, the overwhelming majority of us were not raised to think of the human body and the world itself as illusion. That's not what our textbooks in school taught us. Not even. Yet, as adults, we find ourselves drawn to this thing called spirituality. And in particular, you find yourself drawn to this thing called A Course in Miracles. What's that? Well, it's a good question. It's a course in mind training. Here's the goal of this course: to clarify our perception. Here's what I mean by that. We don't see things as they are. We see ourselves as this. We're not that. Your brother is not this thing that looks like this, more or less. There appear to be 8 billion of them. And then on top of that, there appear to be countless other life forms right here on this spinning ball of rock that wobbles on its axis. So we have what we call seasons, unless you live at the equator and it's all the same day. There's a message in that. Yeah. There appears to be one division after another. There are fish and insects and birds and microscopic life forms, all kinds of invertebrates, all kinds of things like that. There appears to be multiplicity. That's what appears to us. In this multiplicity, we perceive. What I mean by that is there's a subject and an object. The world of perception is known also as the world of duality. So when you see on these videos hashtag non-duality, here's what I mean by that. Duality is a complete illusion. The realm of perception is illusion, in which a perceiver, which we often take to be ourselves, is separate from the perceived, the other people perceived, the animals perceived, the things and events perceived. There is something that appears to be outside the perceiver, a subject and an object, duality. Non-duality simply means not two. There aren't two. There is no distinction at all. There is no separate other with whom to actually do battle. There is no one out there, so to speak. And when you think about what that really means, it's quite profound. And I invite you to allow this to permeate your mind. All of this is going on in our mind. We made this world. We can unmake it. We can release it from all that we thought it was. This course is very profound if you haven't noticed. And if you're still watching, I thank you because you're opening to the message of the Holy Spirit here. The world of perception, of duality, is illusion because there is, in fact, no split. Only God is. Truth is whole. It's whole. It's complete. And it is 100% indivisible. It cannot be altered or changed from without because there is no without. There is only perfect oneness. This course aims to clarify our perception. We don't see things as they are. We see separation everywhere. The aim of A Course in Miracles is for us to clarify our perception so that we see union. We see our perfect oneness instead of divisions and splits and factions and all of these divisions that we've made up. Once we truly and completely see things as they are, our perception is easily translated into knowledge. What this course means by knowledge is, well, knowledge of God, the experience of God, of who and what and where we all really are as the Son of God. We've never left our source. Yes, capital S. Once we learn to see things as they really are, perception ends. It's easily translated into knowledge. It's so like to truth that it simply disappears into truth. This is what is known as enlightenment, full enlightenment, awakening, or we might call it here in the world final awakening. I'm not referring to simple glimpses that we may get from time to time, which are life-changing, and they really can be life-changing. If you've had one, you'd know, right? And profound. You never return to the way it was after setting the ego aside truly and completely, even if it's just for 1 minute and you come rushing back to the drama. You've still had that period of time, that gap, into which your inner teacher rushes at the slightest invitation. So extend this invitation consciously. Invite your inner teacher to run the show. He'll help you clarify your perception if only you allow him to do so. Now, call the Holy Spirit whatever you want. Jesus is a manifestation of the Holy Spirit. You may call your inner teacher your team or your guides, plural, if you wish. Those are all simply names. This is that part of our mind that will guide us, that looks past all of our drama and illusion to the essence of who and what we are, and will remind us of such at our slightest invitation. Slightest. Here's why you're here. That sounds audacious, doesn't it? I mean, each and every one of us, this is universally true. Anyone that appears to be interested in spirituality, not simply just this course, but any form at all, any form, whatever, anything. People who appear to be interested in spirituality are here because they've heard the call to awaken and they're answering it. You're here because you've heard the call to awaken and you have repeatedly answered it. So, for that, we all thank you. The call goes out to everyone 24/7. And here's why it's so powerful. The attraction of love for love to love, this attraction of love for love remains. It's never gone anywhere. It is powerful. It's the way things simply are. The attraction of love for love has never gone away. You want to put it this way, the attraction between God and his creation, the Son of God, you, me, us, remains. We're attracted to truth. This is the call. And you've not only heard it, you have also answered it more than once, or you would certainly not be interested in this course. So, from moment to moment here in the daily stream of life, where we get caught up in one thing after another, the sheer profundity of that can escape us. So it's very important that you are taking time out to let this permeate your mind. And may it inspire you to keep going. May it inspire you to continue to forgive the Son of God. May it inspire you to continue to extend love. We all need that inspiration on the path. We really do. So the attraction of love for love remains. And going back to the title of this conversation, which I referenced at the outset, this course doesn't concern itself with things like making more money. You may or you may not in this lifetime. It doesn't concern itself with the health or non-health of the physical body. That is actually not the point. The point is for us to clarify our perception, which is done in the mind. This is therefore a course in mind training. So, does that sound as sexy as other things that are out there? Well, no, not really. But when you consider that all of spiritual practice is our responding to the call to awaken, deep down, here's something to consider. We all want the peace of God. How can I say this with 100% certainty? Well, There is nothing else. Of course, that's what we all want. When we invite the Holy Spirit to lead us, to guide us, and to tell ourselves repeatedly that we want only the peace of God, what then shows up in our experience? Exactly. So, if you want an alternative definition of a law of attraction, the attraction of love for love is strong. It's all there is. And it doesn't drown out anything else because there is nothing else. It does not overcome by guile or cunning or brute force. It does not need brute force. It is the force, capital F, if you want to put it that way. The attraction of love for love is powerful. So let's leave it right there, shall we, for today? If you're newer to these recordings, first of all, welcome. You have watched up until this point, which quite naturally you're not required to do in life. There are a lot of phenomena out there, understatement of all time, right? There are a lot of channels out there, yet you're here for a reason. So I thank you for tuning in. And if you have not yet subscribed, I invite you to do just that. Please subscribe and join us. The prompt is here in the corner of your screen. It's that arrow. Click that, hover over that, and you'll be invited to join us. There are a number of videos that appear each week, and you'll notice that there is a question thread here on YouTube. I invite your questions. We've had a number of significant dialogues and very interesting dialogues. Spirituality is a process of deep self-inquiry. I mean, it's mind training after all. And questions are bound to arise. So if you've got them, please feel welcome to leave them here. And what I'll do is respond and do my best to answer that for you. Because my role here is to serve as a guide. When something lands for you, it's the Holy Spirit. Count on that. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.